Selekia amona ke tome kanzoto boka musika na zaliko kene una petata te mama teo kwa nyonso na kozala kokanisa yo misere kaboli biso.
Stand by for the main news bulletin coming up at 18:30.
Silko Shabani.
This notice of compliance from the National Health Insurance Management Authority, NEMA, serves to inform the public that all Zambian citizens and established residents of 18 years of age and above are required to register to their National Health Insurance Scheme in accordance with the NHI Act number 2 of 2018. In this regard, all self-employed citizens are required to self-register, while all employers must register their employees within 30 days of employment and thereafter make the prescribed contributions. Remember, registration and contribution to the National Health Insurance is mandatory by law. Be compliant, pay on time to avoid prosecution without further notice. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
Wow, that over there is a very nice Ford. Have you seen it?
Of course. I have been looking at it since we got here. My worry is how people manage such vehicles and where they buy genuine parts from.
I'm sure there's nowhere else apart from Shuma Auto Parts. They are the only supplier of genuine Ford and Mazda parts, which comes straight from the manufacturer. They have everything in stock for both latest and ordinary Mazda and Ford. They also stock service parts such as diesel filters, air con filters, diesel pumps, steering pumps, turbochargers, engine overhaul gaskets, suspension parts, and body parts. If they don't have parts you're looking for, they can order within 5 to 10 working days. To top it up, Shuma Auto Parts also supply Maxxis tires and CST tires.
Really? But where are they found?
They are found on Chandram Sonda Road, Cruiser Auto Workshop in Lusaka. Call on 0979 192057 and 0960-747235. Email shumaautoparts@gmail.com. Shuma Auto Parts for all your genuine vehicle parts.
The happy world of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM main news. The headlines. State House communication specialist files a criminal defamation complaint against Petauke MP. ZESCO projects a $300 million revenue loss per year resulting from the ongoing load shedding. Senegal starts producing oil as president promises benefits. This news bulletin is also streaming live on the 5FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, I'm Hebet Mutavi. State House communication specialist Clayson Hamasaka has filed a formal criminal defamation complaint against a Petauke Member of Parliament Emmanuel J. Banda. In a letter addressed to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Hamasaka detailed how he first encountered allegations of his involvement in the abduction of Mr. Banda on social media on 2nd June 2024. Initially dismissing these claims as baseless, Mr. Hamasaka says he became more concerned after a Daily Nation article titled JJ Narrates Cruel Torture was published, in which Mr. Banda named him as one of his alleged abductors. Mr. Hamasaka denied any involvement, stating that he has never met or interacted with Mr. Banda. He expressed concern over the damage to his reputation and the potential threat to his personal safety and that of his family due to the serious nature of the accusations and Mr. Banda's public following. He emphasized that these defamatory statements not only tarnish his personal character, but also threaten his livelihood and safety. In his complaint, Mr. Hamasaka urged the police to prosecute Mr. Banda and his collaborators, arguing that the allegations are motivated by ill will and intended to damage his reputation due to his sensitive position at State House. The complaint also highlights the need for Mr. Banda and his associates to provide evidence supporting their claims, which Hamasaka believes is non-existent. Mr. Hamasaka has called for prompt action from the police to address the defamation and restore his reputation. PF Faction Secretary General Raphael Nakachinda has expressed a disappointment and concern over the Zambia police's handling of the investigation into the abduction of Petauke Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda. Addressing the media today, Mr. Nakachinda criticized the police for failing to provide a comprehensive report on the culprits involved and not taking a keen interest in interrogating all prime suspects. Mr. Nakachinda emphasized that the state has a lot to explain regarding Mr. Banda's disappearance and reappearance, which has shocked the country and neighboring nations. He condemned the forced removal of the Petauke MP from a private medical facility to Minasoko Military Medical Center, calling it unconstitutional. Mr. Nakachinda claimed that the PF has evidence implicating suspected UPND thugs in the abduction and demanded a thorough investigation. He urged the authorities to take action and ensure justice for the abducted MP.
They are proposing to have one who was abducted, a victim, to be arrested. They are actually picking him from his hospital bed every now and then to the police to go and try and have him arrested. And they are proposing charges that are non-bearable because of the attempt to have his mouth shut. But you can't shut the mouth of the Zambian. You may shut the mouth of JJ Banda, but the Zambians will still speak for him.
Meanwhile, the police have disclosed that they have received a letter of complaint from Petauke Member of Parliament Emmanuel J. Banda regarding an alleged abduction incident. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says Mr. Banda had previously given a statement to the police regarding the events of May 25th, 2024, in which he did not provide any details related to the alleged abduction. Mr. Hamonga says in his recent letter, Mr. Banda has identified certain individuals he alleges were involved in his purported abduction. He states that the police are awaiting Mr. Banda's discharge from Minasoko Medical Center, after which he will be required to lodge a formal complaint and provide a detailed statement. Mr. Hamonga explains that this process is necessary to proceed with any potential criminal investigation. He has assured the public that the police are committed to thoroughly investigating this matter, and further updates will be provided as the situation develops. In other news, Cabinet has approved the 2024 revised budget in order to protect vulnerable households against the effects of the drought, while building resilience and sustainability through the implementation of early recovery interventions in line with the declaration of a state of disaster and emergency. Information and Media Minister Cornelius Mwetwa says the revised budget takes into account the debt restructuring agreements reached with all creditors and the current macroeconomic conditions. Mr. Mwetwa says that the revised 2024 national budget will be tabled in the National Assembly as business resumed on Tuesday, 11th June 2024. He says Cabinet also approved the establishment of a special purpose vehicle, SPV, for investment and trading in mineral resources in the mining sector. Mr. Mwetwa says Cabinet has since found it necessary to establish a special purpose vehicle for investment in the mining sector in order to move away from the dividend payment model for mineral resources and adopt a production-based sharing mechanism to ensure benefits accrue to the people of Zambia beyond statutory obligations. Outgoing Canadian High Commissioner to Zambia, Kay Nunes, says trade between Canada and Zambia has increased to over $311 million in the last few years. Mr. Nunes says exports of various materials, such as mining equipment from Canada to Zambia during the last 5 years, nearly doubled. Addressing journalists in Lusaka today, Mr. Nunes says despite the increase in trade between the two countries, there is still enough room to continue strengthening trade ties. The High Commissioner says Canada sympathizes with Zambia over the drought situation and has pledged its continued support.
We also had a chance to announce two projects through our Canada Fund for Local Initiatives. One is a project with the Cross-Border Traders Association to promote small-scale cross-border trading for young women in Zambia. And the other project is a project with the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, ZAM, and that's to strengthen the competitiveness of Zambian manufacturing MSMEs in regional and international export and trade.
Twashuka Primary School head teacher Nosiku Mkerabai has appealed to government to distribute desks at the school to adequately cater for the over 6,000 pupils. Ms. Mkerabai says that despite government doing a lot to fill in the gap, more needs to be done to address the continued lack of desks at the school. She says some learners are still sitting on the floor despite desks being distributed last year at the school due to its big population of pupils.
The government is doing a lot to fill in the gap, but we still need more to be done. Just like I said, it's highly populated. We have a big enrollment. Looking at the catchment area, a greater positive is going to come out of this. You'll see that we still have a few learners maybe sitting on the floor. That does not mean that nothing has been done. We received some desks last year from the CDF as well as ZPU, but we still need more.
And the Presidential Delivery Unit Delivery Manager, Alfred Sakuya, says that his office will ensure that it meets its target this year by providing desks to all schools that are still facing the challenges of pupils sitting on the floor.
We are doing a spot check to try and estimate or to see how far we are in terms of filling the gap of the children that still need to sit on the desks. What we as PDU are doing is to be a catalyst, is to put energy from the President's office to make sure that these targets are met as soon as possible, so that as soon as perhaps this year, we should meet the target of ensuring that in all our schools, all children are sitting.
In other news trending this evening, Transport and Logistics Minister Frank Tayali says with the increasing concerns of the climate change and an environmental income, sustainability has become a pressing issue for the aviation sector. Zambia has continued to contribute positively to peace on the African continent through its contribution to the United Nations-led peace missions. Up next, business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
Power utility firm ZESCO has projected a $300 million revenue loss per year resulting from the ongoing load shedding. ZESCO Managing Director Victor Mapani says this revenue loss will unfortunately affect the company's ability to repay its $1.8 billion at date, which had been reduced to $400 million and other company operations. Speaking at a media briefing in Osaka today, Engineer Mapani explains that the projection was done when the load shedding was at 8 hours and brought into account the cumulative loss of categories of customers. And Engineer Mapani has clarified that some areas are experiencing prolonged hours of load shedding as manufacturing companies have been prioritized with electricity supply over domestic consumers.
Domestic customers, industrial customers, it amounts to about $300 million per year. In fact, that number is just rounded down. That is quite a huge loss and is devastating. It will definitely affect our operations because our fixed costs are fixed. There's nothing you can do about it. We are even sometimes failing to meet our obligations to pay, for example, the huge debts that we have been servicing. It is a huge, devastating loss. There is no ways about it. It's just something that we can't even explain. That's why even sometimes you now have issues. We are trying to ensure that the basic operations are running, and people are complaining that ZESCO doesn't even give them orders to do things. You know, we have a lot of people who are also doing business with ZESCO.
Meanwhile, Energy Minister Peter Kapala has disclosed that in response to the country's energy deficit, ZESCO Limited has clawed back 168 megawatts of power from exports. Mr. Kapala says Andola Energy is also expected to restart operations by July this year, which will see it bring on board 105 megawatts, while plans are underway to set up 120 megawatts diesel-powered electricity generation in Ndola and Mpika.
The implementation of a 120 megawatt portfolio of PV power projects under the Global Energy Transfer Fee Tariff, commonly known as GetFit program. Mamba Collieries Phase 2 plans are underway to develop an additional 300 megawatt coal power. We anticipate that financial closure will be reached by 30th June 2024 and construction will begin this year. Wapula Hydropower Project. Plans are already underway. Progress the development of the 271 megawatt Wapula Hydropower Project on the Wapula River.
Ends the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
In foreign news, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has said profits from the sale of oil and gas will be well managed as the West African state started producing oil for the first time. Australian energy giant Woodside described the extraction as a historic day and a key milestone for the company and the nation. The Sagoma Deepwater Project, which also has gas, aims to produce 100,000 barrels of oil per day. It is expected to generate billions of dollars for Senegal and boost its economy. Here's a roundup from the BBC for other world news stories.
The French President Emmanuel Macron has urged centrist parties to work together to counter political forces on the extreme right and left. Mr. Macron defended his recent decision to call a surprise snap election. The Interior Ministry in Kuwait says that 49 people have been killed and dozens more injured in a fire in a residential building housing foreign workers in the city of Mangav. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has offered his condolences amid reports that most, if not all, the victims were Indian. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that Hamas has proposed numerous changes in its response to the latest proposal for a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. Speaking in Qatar on his latest trip to the region, Mr. Blinken said that some of the Hamas changes were workable, but others went beyond what the group had previously accepted in talks for a ceasefire.
In sports news, Bayern Munich midfielder Alexander Pavlovich has been replaced by Emre Can in Germany's Euro 2024 squad after being ruled out with tonsillitis. Pavlovich, 20, only made his national debut on 3rd June during a new odd draw with Ukraine, but he was named in Julian Nagelsmann's full squad for the tournament. But he missed Friday's 2-1 win against Greece and has been forced to withdraw from the squad with tonsillitis. Former Liverpool midfielder Emre Can has replaced him. We now have the evening weather report. Stay tuned.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
A moderate and relatively dry airflow from the southeast is influencing the weather over most parts of Zambia, resulting into mainly sunny and windy at times conditions. Ends the evening weather report.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
That item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. State House communication specialist files a criminal defamation complaint against a Petauke MP. ZESCO projects a $300 million revenue loss per year resulting from the ongoing load shedding. Senegal starts producing oil as president promises benefits. For more news, follow us on Facebook at 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the happy world of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. I'm Herbert Mutavi.